This week we are going to start learning about annotating, which is a very powerful tool that you can use when you're reading to help you understand what you are reading. I'm sure that many of you are used to highlighting what you read so that you can pull out what is most important. Highlighting is different from annotating, and today we're going to focus on what you need to do to annotate a text. So, annotation means writing down your thoughts of what you're reading as you read. This is going to consist of short comments in the margins of the book, not long paragraphs. You want to take notes in a way that you are going to be able to understand. So, whatever short comment is going to help you remember what you are reading, that is what you want to write in the margin. Good readers annotate to identify important information. So when you see something that is important, you can jot a little note down. Good readers annotate to record connections. So if while you're reading, you connect to something, it reminds you of something in your life or something you've seen or seen or read before. You can jot down a note about the connection. You can ask questions and you can interpret ideas. Another thing that you can take note of while you're reading is the gist. This helps or will help when it comes time to writing a summary. If you write down the most important idea of each section, after you're done, you will have kind of written a summary. So you'll put all those ideas together and you'll have a summary of the text. Something else that you can do while you're reading is ask questions. I included this quote here from Susan Zimmerman because I think it is important. Questions lead readers deeper into a piece, setting up a dialogue with the author, sparking in readers' minds what it is they care about. If you ask questions as you read, you are awake, you are thinking, you are engaged. For all of you who have thought or said that you get bored easily while you're reading, start asking questions. Start questioning what you're reading. This is going to, again, help you stay awake, help you stay engaged. Here are some typical questions that readers will ask. So readers will ask questions to clarify meaning. They will ask questions to speculate about text yet to be read, so they will make a prediction. They will ask questions to determine an author's intent, style, content, or form. So jotting down a question before you even start that says something like, what is the purpose of this? Or what is the author trying to get me to understand or do? And then you search for the answers to those questions while you are reading. That again helps you stay engaged. You can also jot down questions before you start, such as who, what, when, why, or how. And then while you're reading, you can look for the answers to those questions and jot down the questions and the answers. Another thing that you can do is you can visualize. This is a very important reading strategy, but one that people don't use a lot. So when we visualize, we need to use the author's clues and our own knowledge to build a mental image. If you are really into art per se, this might be an annotation strategy that you might use. You can jot down a quick sketch or quick picture of what you think the author is talking about. A lot of times that is helpful for us to understand what it is we're actually reading. Everyone builds a different image in their head. So what you draw might be different than what someone else draws, and that's completely fine. Authors leave clues to let us know when our prior knowledge will not be a help. So again, when we're talking about annotating or making notes on a text, you should be making connections, asking questions, making predictions, drawing conclusions, stating opinions. So if you read something and you're like, that's crazy, or I don't agree with this at all, write those things down in the margin of your actual text. You can also analyze the way the author writes. Do you think the author is writing well? Do you think they're writing poorly? Are there more details that they need to add? These are, again, things that you can add or jot down when you're annotating a text. And then reflect on the content. Was it a good article? Was it a bad article? What made it good or bad? Again, notes on the text. Good readers pay attention to their thoughts while they're reading. Scientists call this being metacognitive, which means thinking about your thoughts. So while you're reading, if you're paying attention to your questions, things that you think are confusing or things that you connect with, you'll be able to understand the story and better understand how and why you get confused. Here is a sample of some annotations from a Harry Potter book. You see that the first one in the upper left is, I predict that Harry Potter will catch the snitch and win the Quidditch game at Gryffindor. So this person decided to make a prediction. Then you can see that they go on to talk about how the professor doesn't have many friends because he never sits with other teachers. So kind of, again, looking at the content, making some connections, and then lastly, asking a question. I wonder if Ron has a crush on Hermione. Does Hermione like him back? So these are examples of annotations. We'll look at a few more examples after we conclude this lecture. Big question. What if you have a book that you can't write in? The first thing I'm going to say is that if you have a book you can't write in, don't write in it. If it's borrowed from the school or library, or if you rented it, you shouldn't write. But what you can do is you can make marks and write your thoughts on sticky notes and then stick them on the correct page. So if you have a rented book for this course or for any other courses, using sticky notes is a good way to annotate, and it will be expected in this class. No matter what type of annotation you use, so you have lots of options that we've discussed, remember that you are being metacognitive, so you are thinking about your thoughts. By keeping track of these thoughts, you will have a clear picture in your mind of what is happening in the story or the article or who the characters are. Because annotating slows your reading down, you will discover and uncover ideas that you would not have discovered otherwise. One of the main purposes of annotation is just to help you go slower. If you read slower, if you're really paying attention to what you are reading, you are going to understand better. However, the time it takes to read a piece once and annotate is less than the time it takes to reread several times. I promise you that if you are annotating text, you're going to understand it better, and you're not going to have to reread it over and over and over again. And then lastly, read first and then go back and highlight. I do not want to see anything turned in that looks like the picture on this slide. I don't want to see everything highlighted. Read first and then go back and highlight the things that you think are most important or the things that you're going to need for an upcoming assignment. As always, email me with questions. You can replay this PowerPoint as much as you want, and check the resources folder because there will be some information there to help you as well.